Abu Azizi, the young Tunisian man who burned himself alive last December, burned himself alive because the police stopped him from selling merchandise on the street, is an example of all those young poor Arabs who rebelled against dictatorships because they believed in free market capitalism and they wanted to be young entrepreneurs. In fact, comrades, and this is a very dear martyr, Abu Azizi, he was a 27-year-old college graduate who had to work as a street peddler because he could not find a job, a full-time job or a part-time job anywhere in his country, Tunisia. A number of comrades, as Jennifer said, who know that I will be moving to Egypt, soon they keep asking me, so did you find a job, a full-time job in Egypt? Even the one I found actually is not full-time, and there's no pension, but no health care, but they say, did you find a full-time job in Egypt? I answered them, no, comrades, there's no such thing as a secure full-time job in Egypt or in many other Arab countries. In fact, most young Egyptians under the age of 30 work in something called temp contracts. People here are familiar with temp work. There's temp work, and there's some people who have full-time work. Everybody under the age of 30, for the most part in Egypt, has a temp contract. A 1-year temp contract, or a 6 months temp contract, or a 3 months temp contract. Every 3 months or every 6 months, they give you a pink slip, and they say, come back tomorrow, we might rehire you. You can imagine the level of humiliation and insecurity that the vast majority of young people who make up the vast majority of the Egyptian population have to go through. Teachers, nurses, printing workers, oil workers, all work as temp workers, and for extremely low wages. At the moment, there is a countrywide rebellion, for example, by substitute teachers and per diem teachers who make up the vast majority of the teachers in Egypt. They're temp and per diem. They want to win full-time jobs. 2 weeks ago, the governor of one of the Delta region states ran over a young 20-something female teacher when she and her co-workers, like many others around the country, tried to surround the governor's vehicle demanding job security. She's in serious critical condition in a hospital to this very moment. Before that, I read in the papers the janitors at the parliament that is no longer in session because Mubarak was toppled and the parliament was dismantled. The janitors of the parliament, I actually read in the papers and I received a YouTube video, have occupied the courtyard of that parliament building for a few days demanding full-time jobs. I thought to myself, for sure, one more case of temp contracts. So I decided actually to go down to the parliament building in Midtown Cairo to interview the janitors. It turned out to actually be worse. They were not temp workers. They said, actually, we wish we had a temp contract. We have been per diems for the last 15 years. And per diem in Egypt has a slightly different meaning even from per diem in this country. Per diem usually means they call you, you come in, you get paid. If they don't call you, you don't come in, you don't get paid. Per diem in Egypt actually means that you're a full-time employee, you're supposed to show up every single day to work, and if you don't show up to work, they dock you 2 days. And these are the janitors who clean the rooms for Mubarak's parliamentarians. And I can go on with examples of lack of job security and widespread poverty and on and on. And I give you these examples because the Egyptian revolution and the wider Arab rebellions that have broken out in the last few months are, in my opinion, and in the final analysis, a revolt against 30 years of brutal capitalist neoliberal policies of privatization, policies that have devastated and ravaged the lives of millions of working class people across the Arab world, as well as across Africa and Asia and South America. In Egypt, 65% of the 20 million Egyptians, that is 1/4 of the population, the 20 million Egyptians that have actually toppled Mubarak in the great 18-day uprising of last January. They said that they joined that uprising because they were fed up with conditions of utter economic deprivation and poverty. Only 18% of those who were asked in similar studies said they joined the protest because they wanted a Western-style liberal democracy. The vast majority of the people that you saw in Tahrir were poor, working-class people, poor peasants, housewives, single mothers who have had to deal with 30 years of devastation because of the IMF